So I've got what I think is going to be a great cooling solution to install onto the bike today. In the last video I talked about a solution that Takagawa has that pulls off of the oil filter cap to pull oil or to push it out through the oil radiator and then back into the system. And that was the solution that I was looking to go for, except for the fact that the mount that it comes with for the filter goes on the top of the head here and also puts it a little bit lower than the fender. So it would just be kicking rocks and debris directly into the radiator. Plus, I really wanted to get it up here in all of the space I have where the stock airbox used to be. So I was doing a little more searching on solutions, and I came across a solution that Kitaco has that I strangely could only find in a couple of places. The only search results I got were off of the Honda Grom forum where Hard Racing had made a comment about these being available. And I also found a reference to it on Kitaco's Facebook page just mentioning the product, but otherwise I couldn't find it on WeBike or any of the other places that I usually buy Kitaco products. But it looks to be exactly what will work to get my radiator mounted where I want it. And I think the way that it's pulling oil is even more interesting than trying to pull it off of the oil filter. So let me show you what I mean. So in the photos that I saw for the product, it showed both the in and out lines for the oil coming straight off of the tappet cover, which didn't make sense to me because having worked on a lot of these different small bore engines, there's just space there. And then there's the tappet and then the valve. So I decided to just pull it off to understand what was happening. And it's actually interesting how the oil is routing through this cap now, which is a perfect opportunity again for using the cap to be the inlet and then also outlet of the oil. So as soon as you pull it off here, you can see there's this extra hole here, and it also explains what this bump is on the top of the tappet cover. So here on the underside of the tappet cover, you can see that this hole here is where the oil is coming out of the head into the tappet cover and then dumps it straight back down onto the tappet and the intake valve. And then here's the replacement cover that comes with the Kitaco kit that has the same mounting bolts here, but then intake and outtake lines that you can see the oil comes in through here, which will bring it inside of the oil radiator, dump it back out here, which comes out of this hole to dump it back out, hopefully a little bit cooler, onto the tappet and the intake valve. Installation looks to be pretty straightforward. I think I'll have to pull off both of the side fairings, but that otherwise there's this bracket here that holds the 5-row cooler right inside of the fairing where I'm hoping to have it. And again, pretty short lines because it's just coming from this tappet cover here directly up into the radiator. So should be a pretty neat and well-placed solution once it's done. So here is the radiator. This is actually the same 5-row setup that I have on the 2019 Monkey. Come to think of it, I think I bought that kit at Hard Racing as well. And then here are the 2 brackets that I need to figure out how they connect, but somehow mount inside of the frame to hold the radiator right in between the 2 fairings. So the bracket comes in 2 separate pieces that you need to combine. The diagram kind of shows how it needs to go together, but the radiator mounts against these 2 grommets here, and then it's connected with just these 2 M6 bolts that go through the center here so that it makes 1 piece. I don't know if they made it 2 pieces just so it's easier to fit into the box for shipping, but now I think it's just a matter of figuring out exactly what mounting points it lines up to attach to the frame here. All right, I've got the radiator mount mocked up here. These are the points where the radiator will actually mount to. The clever thing is this mount is using all of the same points that the original stock airbox did. So there's 2 points up on the frame that's securing the middle part. And the great thing is that it's also securing the sides of the fairings, which is where I lost a little bit of structural support when I removed the stock airbox. I wasn't having too much trouble, but there was a little bit of flexibility in the side fairings, especially at speed. I was thinking about building some type of bar that went across, but this will not only solve my cooling problem, but also bring the structural integrity back that the stock airbox provided previously. So I ended up having to take off the right fairing as well because I needed access to be able to secure a bolt right here, which I haven't yet, and then also to secure a bolt to the bracket and this part of the fender. All right, so I've got the radiator mounted here. I've got the tappet cover with the inlet and outlets mounted here. So all I need to do now is put on the final hardware for the hose coming off of the top and then cut to length 2 hoses to connect the radiator to the tappet cover, and that should be it. All right, so I've got all the hoses ran and everything's good. Before I buttoned it up though, I just wanted to show, since you won't be able to see it as clearly once the fairings are on, but the top hose, again, a very short run, starts here and then just runs right down here to the tappet cover. Everything's tucked really neatly. Again, I love how short these lines are. And I also love that there's now support for this side fairing that I lost when I took out the stock airbox. So then here on the opposite side, you can see this line Again, starts here and just runs down to right here. So very short run. The lines will be tucked under what will be visible once the fairing is back on, and just an overall very clean setup. Again, support here for this fairing side as well. So let me get the fairings on. Actually, before that, I'm going to go ahead and run it for a little bit, make sure I'm not getting any oil leaks. I'll also need to add just a little bit of oil because some will be taken up from the radiator. So after running the engine for about 30 seconds, the oil level here went from the top line all the way down to the bottom line. So I'm going to fill it back up to the top line, keep running it, and keep an eye on it until the oil level stops decreasing. All right, so I'm stoked about the product and the installation. The radiator sits just where I wanted it to, in between the fairings, and I really like that that bracket has support for the two fairings so that there isn't any movement of them like there was once I had removed the stock air box that had previously been supporting them. It's been raining a little bit here again, so it'll probably be tomorrow or the next day that I get out to ride it to see if it's actually bringing down the temps, but this is the same 5-row radiator that I'm running in the 2019 Monkey, and that significantly brought my temps down on that bike, so I expect to see similar results on this one. And thank you again to Hard Racing for getting me this product so quickly. I think it only took 2 days to get from North Carolina here to Southern California, so really appreciate their support. I'll link in the description below directly to this product. Again, I think they are the only ones that are selling this anywhere, and between this and the Takagawa solution, this really does look like to be the better one. You won't be able to run this if you're still running the stock airbox, but if you're doing cooling for the bike, my guess is you've probably removed the airbox by now. So anyway, thank you everybody very much for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't yet, stay tuned for more videos, and keep on building.